Joining me now is Phoebe Devries. She is the Senior Manager of Research and Content for our parent company, the Intercontinental Exchange. Good morning, Phoebe.
Good morning.
Now, I understand that your group at ICE Climate has done some analysis on the impacts of Hurricane Helene on the municipal bond market. What motivated this analysis, and can you talk us through some of what your team did?
Of course. Yeah, to state the obvious, first and foremost, Hurricane Helene has had a devastating impact on local communities in Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee, and parts of Georgia, and Virginia. I think it's impossible to see the images and the news coverage coming out of that area without having your heart go out to these communities. In ICE Climate, we think a lot about infrastructure in particular, and the impacts of infrastructure on people's everyday lives, both in terms of infrastructure investment, and infrastructure damage. And the municipal bond market is really one of the primary financing engines for US infrastructure, especially at the local level. I think that's really one of the main reasons we were interested in looking into this in particular.
What
Over
were
the
some?
past, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Oh
cut
yeah.
you off, Phoebe.
No, no worries. Yeah, I was just going to say, over the past 5 years or so, the Ice Climate Group, or the group that's now Ice Climate, has built up this really comprehensive library of the geospatial boundaries of municipal bond obligors and linked those boundaries to individual securities. So what we did in this analysis was we looked at National Weather Service flood alert boundaries during the period of time that Hurricane Helene was impacting the southeastern US. And we found the municipal bond obligors that were exposed to those flood alerts.
Now, you talked a little bit about some of your findings, but throughout your research and your team's work, did anything strike you as odd, or what was the most surprising takeaway for you?
Yeah, so overall, Colin Sullivan in our group made these really striking maps showing this municipal bond exposure during Hurricane Helene. And in total, we found that there were over 300 municipal bond obligors that were exposed to these National Weather Service alerts. And these obligor locations are linked to about 15,000 individual securities. And you can see this in this map that Colin made really clearly. On the left, that was the view of the entire southeastern US, and the blue were the National Weather Service flood alert boundaries, with the green showing the municipal bond obligor locations that were exposed to those alerts. And he zoomed in on the Asheville area as well. So going forward, and these municipal bond obligors, the sort of striking thing about them was that they included everything from, school districts, counties, towns, charter schools, universities, among many others. And going forward, ICE Climate has developed what we're preliminarily calling Hazard Watch, which is a tool to enable clients to do this kind of exposure analysis to hazards in near real time.
And what are your thoughts on the longer term implications of these kind of impacts, Phoebe?
I think one of the many shocking things about Hurricane Helene was just the immense amount of rainfall that fell over Western North Carolina in particular. Some of these communities experienced well over 13 inches of rain in a less than 3-day period. And that caused these rivers, in some cases, to crest over 25 feet. And I think the storm, in many ways, illustrates the importance of awareness of inland flood risk and rain-driven flood risk. And hopefully along with that awareness comes, preparation resources and maybe in some cases flood mitigation infrastructure as well. And the municipal bond market likely has a large role to play in that kind of effort.
Thank you so much, Phoebe, for that important information. It was great having you on the show.
Of course. Thank you.